All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're basically stepping in as your elite study buddy to tackle a pretty massive topic. We're going to get you absolutely ready to crush your IT project management and entrepreneurship finals, specifically for CSC 495. So if you've been, staring at your notes trying to figure out how to analytically evaluate project success, you are definitely in the right place. Today is all about mastering key performance indicators.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll be defining KPIs and metrics, looking at how to build a good one, weighing the pros and cons, running through a coffee shop practice scenario, and then breaking down the solution.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, defining KPIs and metrics. I absolutely love this analogy from the source material. Basically, think of a KPI as your project's GPS. It's a highly specific measurement used to define whether your organization or your team is actually meeting a predefined goal. When used correctly, this GPS tells you if you're traveling right to your objectives at top speed or, and this is crucial, if your current course of action means you're about to literally drive off a strategic bridge into a lake. It tells you, clear as day, if you need to course correct right now.
Okay, heads up, because this right here is exactly where professors love to trick you on the exam. Are KPIs and metrics the same thing? No way. Metrics track basic operational tasks, processes, or activities, like tracking the number of hours used on a project. That's a metric. Key performance indicators, on the other hand, measure actual performance against defined business objectives. We're talking on-time completion rates or conversion rates. KPIs give you this high-level indication of what's actually working. So the golden rule to remember, all KPIs are metrics, but not all metrics are KPIs.
Moving right along to Section 2, building a good KPI.
For a KPI to actually be considered good on your exam, and honestly in the real world, you need to remember a few key characteristics. First off, it's got to be tied directly to organizational or team goals. It also has to be easy to understand. Furthermore, it must be completely quantifiable and actionable, meaning if the numbers are looking bad, decisive action can actually be taken to fix the problem. And above all, it has to be realistic. If a target is quite literally impossible, well, it's a terrible KPI.
And that naturally brings us to the SMART framework. You know it, you love it. To ensure those goals are realistic and can actually be met, your KPI should always be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This is basically the ultimate structured checklist. If you're asked to draft a KPI in your final, run it through this exact framework to make sure it's rock solid.
Which brings us to Section 3, KPI pros and cons.
On the plus side, KPIs provide immense value, like a real game changer. They give leaders actual data-driven insights, rather than just relying on gut feelings. They show exactly where a business plan is working and, conversely, where it desperately needs attention. Plus, they massively improve accountability. When targets are crystal clear, it can incredibly empower and motivate employees to take action and smash those goals.
But you absolutely need to memorize this for the test. There are major pitfalls. Overly defined KPIs can totally obscure the big picture and cause this strategic tunnel vision. If they aren't realistic, employees become deeply demotivated. And worse, focusing too hard on hitting short-term KPI goals might actually harm long-term strategies, stifle creativity, and even incentivize toxic behaviors as people desperately try to game the system just to hit their targets.
All right, let's get into Section 4, practice scenario, coffee shop.
Okay, let's put this into practice with a scenario-based analytical question, just like the ones you'll see on the final. Imagine you manage a coffee shop, right? Your overarching goal is to track and improve overall business performance. Your challenge right now is to look at a bunch of raw data from last month and deduce which items are actual KPIs versus which are just standard operational metrics. So, take a look at the raw data we've got here. Go ahead and hit pause on this explainer for a second if you need a moment to really think it through. We've got things like total customers served, total revenue, customer complaints, average wait time, employee sick days, some Instagram followers gained, coffee beans purchased, and repeat customers. Your job is to decide which of these 8 items genuinely reflect strategic business health.
And finally, Section 5, explaining the solution. Let's break it down.
So out of those 8 data points, the true KPIs that actually measure the success and health of this coffee shop are the total revenue, average wait time, number of repeat customers, and the customer complaints. These 4 directly measure how the business is performing against its core objectives, which are making money and keeping customers happy.
Now you might be wondering, wait, why isn't total customers served on there? It seems like a great number, 3,450 customers.
But here's the thing. While it provides important context, tracking repeat customers, or revenue per customer, is a vastly better KPI. Why? Because repeat customers actually prove the quality of your product and service, not just the sheer quantity of random foot traffic.
We also tossed out employees' sick days. 15 sick days is fundamentally just an internal HR metric. Unless you can mathematically show that it massively disrupted your operations and directly caused a loss in revenue, it's just supporting data. It is not a core, customer-facing business performance indicator.
Okay, here is a classic exam trap. Picking Instagram followers. You gained 230 followers? Awesome, good for you. But social media growth is purely a marketing metric. It doesn't measure actual business success for a physical coffee shop unless you can explicitly prove that those online followers are actually walking through your physical doors and leading directly to revenue.
And finally, purchasing 150 kilograms of coffee beans. Look, this is a purely operational inventory metric. It is absolutely necessary for running the shop, obviously, but it tells management literally nothing about actual success, profit margins, or customer satisfaction. It's a task, not a target.
So, the real secret here is knowing the strategic why behind the data. Being able to defend why a metric is or isn't a KPI is exactly how you ace this module. Which leads me to ask one final question for you to ponder. How will you apply these exact KPI principles to optimize and measure your own exam prep success? Like maybe tracking hours studied is just a metric, but practice test scores is your true KPI. Think about it. Good luck on your CSE 495 finals, and we'll see you on the next explainer.